Hey guys, are you ready to continue our countdown? It's the last one, and I think some good things are going to come up with this one. So let's take a peek. Now, you remember we went through the other ones: overwhelm, being observant, people pleasing, all that stuff. If you see something that interests you, go back and find that video. But today we're on overthinking. So let's take a read at what the author thinks this is. The INFJ's love of the mysterious and complex can be a double-edged sword. It's easy for them to overanalyze things to the point where they lose sleep. They can also become so absorbed in what's happening inside their head that they lose touch with the outside world. Okay, so let's really think about that. Yeah, I would agree with all that. Guilty as charged. Although now that I'm older, I don't lose sleep, because if I'm not sleepy, I don't judge that. I just get up and have coffee and do whatever I feel like and then go back to sleep. That's right. That's what I do. Even though I'm married, and when I was younger, my husband thought I was crazy, so to speak. And I just stuck to my guns, and I don't have to adapt to anyone else. If I'm awake, it's not insomnia. I just do something. So now, as far as overthinking, that's also a judgment. It really depends. You have to ask yourself, am I hurting me? Am I hurting others? That's all that matters. Okay? Don't judge yourself. Don't put yourself down. Just take an honest look, like I do right here with you, and just acknowledge who you are, accept who you are, and consider tweaking it if you feel like it would be the more loving thing to do. And ask yourself, am I hurting me? Am I hurting others? That's it. There's no such thing as overthinking. Now, I love thinking. I'm passionate about thinking. I can't even tell you how much I love thinking. So if I use this on myself and I say, is this hurting me? Well, sometimes I think that I'm a little imbalanced because I have such a rich inner world in my mind, which I adore, that I forget I have a body. And when I was younger, it was more obvious. Now I'm more in touch with my body, and I know it's important to love my body and be present in my body. And this is my vehicle. My consciousness is nothing if I don't have a vehicle. So as I matured, I became more aware of how important that is. When I was younger, I used to say to myself that I would do yoga in my 40s, when people would bring it up and say that it would be good for me. And now that I am that age, I still don't feel like doing it. But I think my 60s will feel like my 40s in that regard. So there's plenty of time for me to pick that up. Right now, honestly, I'd rather be hiking with my friend, my INFJ friend Jill. And I'm not just trying to plug her, although I enjoy doing that. I would prefer to be entertained if I'm moving my body, because I have owned equipment, and it just bored the life out of me, exercise equipment. And I went to the gym, and I'm too much of an introvert to go to the gym. It's kind of a social thing for a lot of those people. And because I'm a light, I'm bright and I'm perky, but I turn that on and off. And when I'm there, they see the bright and they start talking to me. And I would usually prefer to have my nose in a book, and that didn't stop them from talking to me either. But anyway, so this was about balance. So I acknowledge that I'm often, overly in my head. So I'm being honest, I might want to consider being more mindful of being in my body. Now, the second question, am I hurting others? Sometimes, yes. I have done that because I am so passionately enjoying my own thought processes, which is like an explosion. If I am interested in an idea, I can see it from all angles at once. It all just comes rushing at me. Like if I see something that might be a problem for someone, so let's say they're struggling with something, all of what I think are the answers all hit me. and they'll even hit me in the order that they have to do them, the percentage of importance it should take above other things in their life. Like, it just hits me like I can't even explain. That's why I thought I should be a counselor, because I love telling people what to do. But and they'll come to me too. But I had to learn, again, because I'm kind of a light, and my other INFJ friends are as well, many of them. And people will come to you with their problems. You know why? Because they know you have answers for them, and you love to give the answers. All right. Now, this is all heading under the topic of overthinking, remember. They know inside that we have the answers, and so they're magnetized to us, and we just want to spill them out because it's like, it's a service, and I think it's also fun. I just think it's fun to find things and turn them around in my head, to analyze them. So they find us, and then now here's the tricky part. We have to be careful, because they may seem like they're in need, and they may want to complain in front of us, but it's not an invitation for us to fix them. And this was difficult for me, because sometimes people are a little victim-y, and I wanted to point out how they're empowered if they just change their mind or think in the way that I would like to show them to think. And if they're not ready for that, they're going to be mad at you. So you know what you do to solve that? A psychologist taught me this. You have to ask. Let me give you a for instance. You can say to them, "May I offer you something?" And then you have to wait, and you have to wait to see what they say, because now I'm thinking of a girl that I was associated with that had a knee problem, and we were both kind of into the new agey, new thought kind of stuff. All right, so I thought she'd be receptive to something in regards to her walking with a cane. Now, she needed a cane to take the pain away for her knee, but she decided not to use the cane because she felt like that was giving it kind of credence, like it was going to make her, she thought by not using a cane it was going to make the pain go away. Okay, so what I wanted desperately to impart to her as I saw her walking around wincing on her knee was the idea that it's okay to take any of the tools that you feel like you need, but you can decide in your head if they are, what importance you'll give to it. So you could use a cane and say to yourself, "Woe is me, I have to use a cane." Or you could use the cane and say to yourself, "I am so grateful for this cane, and you know what, cane, one day I'm not going to need you, and I'm going to enjoy donating you to the senior center or something. But I do appreciate you being with me now while I'm strengthening myself." Okay? So you see, these are two vastly different points, and I really wanted to give her that piece of information because I felt that I knew better, and I still feel that I knew better. But that's the right answer for me. That's not, she has her own path. So you have to ask, and then they will let you know. And in fact, you know what? She didn't want to hear it from me. And I had a sense that she didn't. I said, "Listen, I know you like to, go your own way, and you're a strong person." I said, "But I have a thought on that from some of my research, and I'd like to share it with you." And she declined. So even if you think you can be a help, and you love to think, and you love to analyze, and you get all caught up in how great you are at it, that's wonderful. But you have to ask yourself, am I hurting me? Am I hurting others? So, just be real honest. Be an observer. Observe yourself. Pretend you're listening to yourself, And another thing I learned, some of the phrasing, is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? Somewhere along those lines, someone put that idea forth. I'll find you the picture and link it here. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? So you have to stop and take a breath. If you're really hopped up on something in your thoughts, you got to take a breather. make sure the people around you are digging this, because you might be so up in your head that you're out of touch with their needs. So you might have to slow it down here and there, because we don't want to upset people, because then you have to deal with that later. And as I say, being an empath, being a feeling person, we don't want to make these messes just because we don't have to deal with them later, So those are my thoughts on overthinking. Just remember to breathe and enjoy your life, and everything comes when it's supposed to come. I call that divine timing. I get caught up in it too, I really like thinking, but I have to make sure that, if it's something I'm sharing with another person, that they're appreciating my thought. Because a lot of times I want to give advice and the person really wants to do their own thing. And that stinks. That means I have to go find some more of my own stuff and leave them alone, So I try to recognize that myself. But that's how I feel about overthinking. So we'll see what comes up later, and I will talk to you shortly. Thanks for hanging in. Bye.